What is up, everybody? It's Vico, and it's time for a brand new bass house tutorial. Let's get into it. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how I made the drop for In My Mind, my brand new song. In this case, it's the third drop, and this one is pretty interesting because the leads on the drop were made with animal sounds.
To these demons in my mind, light up this fire.
Don't you guys forget that this FLP is going to be available on my Patreon, as well as the sample pack, stems, and the sounds used for the drop. So let's start with the drums. So this is a kick that I probably just layered a lot of them on top of each other and exported into this. That's what I've been doing. And here are the hi-hats, just a couple of hi-hats stacked on top of each other. And clap. Been layering a lot of hi-hats to get that bouncy feeling, like a heavy compressed hi-hat. So for the A section, I made a progression with... The progression goes G sharp, A sharp, B, and then C sharp. I'm doing the same progression with the stab. And then here I just increased the amount of notes that I'm doing just to create more tension. I'm going to show you the layers for the lead. It's just flutes and animal sounds. This is one of the main sounds. The lead without processing sounds like this. There was a little bit of compression involved. So starting with transient shaper, EQ, then disperser, which I've been using a lot, and then a comb filter, then OTT, then sausage fattener, and not that slight, then some ring modulation. This was used to give a distorted effect. And then imager here to control the stereo field. That's why I brought down the low bands here. Cut the lows, increase the highs, then sidechain, an endless smile, which is for the reverb right here. So this is controlling the reverb. And basically this chain is being used in the stab right here, same chain, and it's also being used for the second lead. And now for the beat section right here. The main drums, it has literally no body. And this is why it's very important to have a lot of sounds stacked, especially when you're doing drum leads. So what am I using? So I'm using the bass plug, I am using the vocal, and I'm using some backup drums. It's all about tricking the ear into thinking that the sound is pretty big, which is in fact not. And how were these drums made? So it was picked up from a cashmere loop, and then here with Slice X, it was played around with. I made this groove, and then with processing. So just a bunch of processing as well. Camel Crusher, OTT, disperser, EQ, blood overdrive, OTT, EQ, more EQ, and then imager. Also to control the stereo field here. And then Maximus to give it a little bit more compression. Just doing some brick wall limiting, basically cutting the peaks. So that's how the drum leads were made. And that's basically it for the theory and the idea. I hope this was helpful. And again, the sample pack and the sounds used are going to be available on my Patreon. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you the sample pack real quick. So this is how I got it. Clap, stabs, hi-hat, kick, B section loops. Now this is where it gets interesting. So I exported each lead in every single note. So you can load this, open up your sampler in your own DAW. And now you have the lead. It's like having Nexus, basically. But the cool thing is, this works in any DAW. So you just load up your sampler with all of your sounds, one that plays multiple one-shots. Since they're key labeled, they're going to be, well, synced to the correct key. And each note is one export, so it's going to be maximum quality for each one-shot. You can do this with any of these leads. Check it out. So. And now, the interesting part. You can also do the same thing with the drop stab. But now check this. So you can also use this to do your own drum loops. So now you can load them up to your own sampler to create your own ideas. So this was the introduction to this sample pack. It's going to be available on my Patreon. Thank you to everybody that keeps supporting and to everybody that keeps watching my videos. Thank you so much. See you in the next one. Like on, like off.